The VA isn't exactly sure. Officials say it most likely happened as a result of a mistype. But how it even got to that point is still a question Johnson is asking. Each medal tells a story of devotion, heroism, and mainly survival.
Vietnam started trying to kill me in 1967.
Marine Corporal Tony Johnson barely made it out alive.
I have to say, you look pretty good for a dead man.
Yes.
2 tours in Vietnam did not kill Anthony Johnson off, but the Department of Veterans Affairs did, at least on paper.
When did you die?
March the 7th, 2012 was the date that the VA has finally killed me.
On March 26, 2012, Johnson opened a letter in his mailbox addressed to his ex-wife.
Dear Cheryl Johnson, we are sorry to learn about the death of Anthony Johnson. At first, I'm going, boy, has the VA screwed up this time.
And things became even more screwed up the next day when he opened a second letter addressed to his ex.
Guess what? There's a U.S. Treasury check, just says Cheryl Johnson, for $3,354.
Johnson went straight to the VA, and sure enough, records there showed he was a dead man.
You have to laugh, because if you don't, you'll cry. It's sad.
Johnson worried how his alleged death might affect his benefits. He's 100% disabled, mostly due to severe post-traumatic stress disorder.
The VA says that they'll get it straightened as fast as they can, but I'm the one that's suffering for what appears to be the Veterans Administration's error.
But the errors kept growing. A few days after he sent the widow's check back, the government directly deposited $3,354 into his personal bank account.
That's a lot of money. There's veterans living under bridges that don't have 33 cents.
Right now, I can't tell you 100% why that happened.
VA officials say most likely someone in their office typed something wrong into a computer, but they also think that they may have received a first notice of death, although they can't find one. A first notice of death, or FNOD, comes when a vet dies and a loved one fills out an application or calls for death benefits. Social Security and the prison system can even generate an FNOD when someone dies.
Don't have any proof that somebody sent in anything to say Mr. Johnson has passed away on this date or called.
VA officials say they don't have proof because they can't find a first notice of death for Johnson.
My name's Elizabeth. I'm with News 12. Are you aware that your ex-husband is alive?
Oh, that's stupid. You know what? Let me tell you something. I didn't fill out any papers to try to have him declared dead.
Cheryl Johnson says she didn't file any paperwork to collect widow's pay, regardless of her feelings towards her ex-husband.
Wish he would die and leave me alone.
Tony Johnson's problems became an even bigger nightmare when he received this letter from the VA's Debt Management Center. It states he owes nearly $7,000 and that they would be withholding the money from his monthly VA benefits.
You know, it's almost funny in a way. Excuse me. It's sad to think this could happen to anybody. It's ridiculous.
Tony Johnson can't help but wonder if the VA didn't catch the transaction that led to his erroneous death, then how many others go unnoticed?
Elizabeth, it happens occasionally. Process a lot of FNODs, as you can imagine, throughout the year. Sometimes it happens.
When I was in Vietnam, I used to tell my troops, because I was a squad leader, they had to take care of one another. That's what the VA's got to do, take care of us.
And just as he once protected our country, he expects them to protect him. Johnson is now listed as alive in the VA system. However, that did not end his problems. Today, the VA told us Johnson owes them money because he wrongfully collected spousal benefits after his divorce. Johnson says he told the VA about the divorce years ago, and the adjustment was made. He says he even has a letter to prove it. Here it is from the VA. It shows where they removed his spousal benefits after the divorce more than 2 years ago.
With all the mix-ups, he may wish he was dead, but what's he doing about the money the VA says he owes them?
Well, he is actually appealing the process right now, and he is using that letter we just showed you as evidence. And as you can imagine, he is very frustrated, and to make matters worse, they've put a flag on his account because he showed up dead, so it's hard for him to get any answers right now when he calls them.
Pretty frustrating situation all the way around. Thank you, Liz. She's on your side now with more. Liz.
Well, Pro Resources is a local employment service. They claim 80% of the jobs available in their database are exclusive local positions only available through them. But as we investigate, that number isn't quite right, and many of their advertised jobs are not local at all.
As a husband and father,
I was tapping into my 401k when I can to make ends meet.
providing for his family is George's #1 priority.
How desperate are you to get a job?
Very desperate at this moment. Very desperate. Very desperate.
George doesn't want us to show you his face or tell you his real name. He's embarrassed because he feels like he fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book, deceptive advertising.
It's a hard economy out there. It's hard enough trying to find a job. And then you got some company that's taking advantage of the weak, so to speak.
An ad on Career Builder caught George's eye. Medical, monitor supplies and equipment. He called the number listed.
In order to follow through with the job, had to sign a contract and pay $190 fee.
The company Pro Resources markets itself as a premier employment service. The website states we are the premier employment service dealing with permanent jobs and top-paying employers. We work hard to find hundreds of available positions in your community.
I called them the day before I actually went down there and inquired about the job. And they told me that the job was available and it had valid dates on there.
The next day, George signed a contract and paid $190 for a membership. It was only then he could view the details of the job Pro Resources advertised on Career Builder.
Was that job available when you got there?
No, it wasn't.
What did they tell you?
They told me if it's not showing, if it's not listed, then chances are it's probably been filled.
George had no idea that job was long gone before Pro Resources even published the ad. The medical job he was interested in was with the VA. According to Human Resources with the VA, that job closed 4 days before Pro Resources even published the online ad.
Tell them whatever it takes, as long as you're not going outside the guidelines, whatever it takes to get them in that office.
Ed is a former employee at Pro Resources. His manager let him go, he says, after not meeting his sales quota.
What is the #1 goal for Pro Resource?
Bring them in, get them to sign,
Get that money.
get the money.
According to Pro Resources guidelines for employment counselors, your main focus is to whet their appetite and get them to set an appointment for the same day and come in prepared with a fee. Pro Resources employment counselor material also says that you are not to service clients and become personal counselors. Instead, employment counselors are salespeople, pure and simple.
It's all about sales.
Warren Oliver is a former employment counselor with Pro Resources. He says their deceptive practices range past expired jobs advertised as open jobs. He says they overstate the number of job listings that are exclusive to them. Management told News 12 80% or more of the jobs in their system are exclusive to Pro Resources. And under Pro Resources job development guidelines, it says we must maintain 80% exclusive rights to the positions we list in our directory. So we checked it out ourselves. We examined nearly 180 jobs in Pro Resources database. Out of those, we discovered 65% are exclusive to the employment service, not 80%. Jennifer Solberg is the Director of Operations for Pro Resources. She tells News 12 their definition of exclusive means you won't find the positions listed in the paper or posted on job search engines by anyone other than them.
That does not mean that that company may not be advertising their job on their internal website.
And how about those jobs being local?
They say that the jobs are within a 60-mile radius of Augusta.
The manager at the Augusta branch of Pro Resources told News 12 the same thing, a 60-mile radius from Augusta. Even Pro Resources sales script reads, "We employ full-time job development staff that markets the local area daily to bring in new jobs." And the corporate spokesperson is adamant that they never advertise non-local jobs as local.
We don't advertise jobs in Columbia and run those positions in the Augusta area. We have never done that, ever.
But our investigation shows otherwise. We compared ads Pro Resources posted in an Augusta newspaper to information in their database over a 6-week period of time. Out of 36 ads, nearly 40% of them were not located in the CSRA. Our On Your Site investigation also reveals 2 of the ads clearly state local and Augusta area. However, both jobs are located in Columbia.
We were taking some folks their last penny in hopes to get a job,
including those who do not qualify for a particular job advertised.
I've had people come there with 6 felonies, and the manager tells them, well, sure, we get people who have felonies jobs every day.
The local manager also told us she can get felons jobs, but our investigation shows management may not always warn ex-cons about background checks. News 12 obtained information indicating that management knew a prospective client was a sex offender and was interested in a specific job listing. The job requirement clearly states clean background in Pro Resources system, but Pro Resources still signed the felon and took his money.
Not everyone should pay this fee. I'm okay. And you know what? Buyer beware.
Do you feel guilty at all for signing some of those people up and taking their money?
Yes.
Why do you feel guilty?
Because they're still looking for work.
I would like to apologize for anybody that I ever convinced to come in and give them their money.
Both Warren and Ed are now ashamed of their involvement with Pro Resources.
My biggest complaint for them is false advertising, deceiving their clients.
George eventually did get a full refund after News 12 On Your Site contacted the manager here at Pro Resources. That manager told us she would go on camera with us to talk to us about the allegations. But after canceling several interviews, she told us no.
If it appears to be too good to be true, most of the time it is.
The service cannot satisfy every person every day, all the time, because it's based on the job market.
George is now searching for a job the old-fashioned way.
Do what I be doing, get out there on the websites and contact some things and go forward.
But he's going forward a little more leery.
Currently, Pro Resources in Augusta does have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. However, the Better Business Bureau says it has had trouble with a Pro Resources office in the past. The BBB tells News 12 after a previous investigation, Pro Resources agreed to change the way it advertises their jobs, and a Pro Resources employee was fired.
So Liz, what should people do if they have a complaint with Pro Resources?
Go ahead and call the BBB. Any evidence they have will help make a decision on Pro Resources accreditation. Also call the Attorney General. That's the office that investigates claims of false advertising. And of course, we have all that information on WRDW.com.
All right, thanks for that, Liz. As News 12's On Your Side, Elizabeth Owens investigates. Sellers beware.
If you're like me, you probably have no idea what your grandmother's antique dresser is worth or your father's old coin collection, but what we found out in our undercover investigation is that some folks are banking on what you do not know about your collectibles.
Coming to a town near you.
Ohio Valley Gold and Silver Refinery will be in your area.
Road shows offering good prices for your collectibles.
Why sell your valuables to a middleman when you can go directly to the refinery and get more cash?
Ohio Valley Gold and Silver Refinery is one of about a dozen road shows under the parent company THR and Associates. According to the news release they sent us, they're experts who travel the country looking to make competitive offers on your jewelry, antiques, and coins.
VDB are the initials of the designer on the back of the coin.
Speaking of coins,
it's because it's a 1909. S is a San Francisco Mint.
Wayne Dameron is one of the best experts in town.
On $3,400, $3,500 at cost.
He's skeptical about traveling road shows.
The people are not offering them a fair price for merchandise.
Not because he worries about them stealing business, but because he believes they take advantage of uneducated coin sellers.
And I think the biggest problem with that is it's very misleading.
We wanted to know if Ohio Valley Gold and Silver Refinery would give a fair amount for a rare coin collection and if their, quote, experts would be able to make heads or tails out of it.
We borrowed these coins from Klein's. We have a couple Carson City silver dollars and this rare 1909 penny that would appraise for $3,500 alone. The total appraisal value for this collection is $5,500.
Another rare coin in our collection is this Carson City 1889 silver dollar. It appraises at $1,000. We put it in a case with several other silver dollars that are not quite as valuable and gave it, along with the rest of the collection, to our station engineer Ed, who was armed with a hidden camera.
On these things, do you, like, the amount you give, is that like a percentage of what you could potentially sell it for? Like, I mean, you got to make a profit, obviously.
A high percentage, yes.
Okay.
The dealer assures Ed that she pays a high percentage for the value of the coins, so he shows her the rare 1909 penny that appraises for $3,500.
I got back from my research on the penny, $750.
Not very good research if she's going by the weekly gray sheet listings. According to the Bible of Rare Coins, she offered him $2,750 less than its wholesale value.
Do you guys give the best deals in town? Are you fair?
I think we are. Normally we give at least twice what the locals will give.
This is Jim Toner, field manager at the Roadshow. He tries to convince us that he gives the best deals in town. That didn't work for a 1909 penny, but how about the rare Carson City 1889 silver dollar? Remember, we mixed it in with other less valuable silver dollars. It alone appraises at $1,000. It caught the eye of our dealer, but she never told our engineer that it's a very valuable coin.
Okay, I can give you 15 each on those.
Her offer, $15 for each silver dollar, including the rare 1889 Carson City. She later upped it to $25 a piece. $25 for the same coin our expert bought for $950, which now appraises at $1,000. That's only 2.5% of the wholesale value. The silver alone in each coin is worth $26.
But I did not see an 1889, so I can't comment on that.
The manager tells us he wasn't around when our engineer came in, but take a look. Our hidden camera caught him in the room. And listen.
Jim, you'll have to grade this one for me if you have a minute.
That's the dealer asking him to come look at one of our coins.
I'd like to look at it and see what the mint market is.
Yeah, I can show you.
An 1889 in that condition right there.
Mm-hmm.
In very fine condition.
Mm-hmm.
$775.
Right, and you guys offered $25 for it.
I don't know if she noticed that it was a Carson City. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I have to talk to the individual.
Okay.
But remember, it was the one coin she took special notice of in our silver dollar collection.
She was trained, so she
Right.
should have noticed it.
Well, maybe she noticed it, maybe she didn't. I don't know.
Either way,
In my opinion, if that's not a ripoff, nothing is.
you can be the judge whether Ohio Gold and Silver Refinery's experts give good offers.
And what it boils down to is that you need to have an idea of what your stuff is worth before heading to a traveling roadshow. If you have an antique, take it to a local antique dealer and have it appraised. If you have a coin collection, go to a coin expert who deals strictly with rare coins. Remember, local people have to have a reputation to keep up. Roadshows are only here once a year.